Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Li-Ning Liren 5. So I got this over at Kickzone, and some of the colorways are different as far as their retail prices go. So it ranges from 150 to like 180 bucks. And the Liren 4 was an amazing performer. However, it was a little iffy for the traction. But other than that, I really enjoyed the shoe. So if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave in a free link in the description box. If you do choose to get this shoe, it does help me out if you buy it through the free link in the description box. But yeah, let's get it started right off with the traction. So in this color we have a solid white rubber outsole with some kind of like pink speckles. And by the way, this is the strawberry milkshake colorway, which it looks pretty cool. Besides there's a lot of strawberries, right? But anyways, we have a mix of herringbone and also some like thick squiggly lines and also some zigzag patterns here in the heel, right? So how does the traction feel? Just from my first impressions and just from trying it on my wood floors, it feels literally amazing, like awesome. It has a really hard stop, and also I say it in all my videos, but yeah, it's pretty dusty. There's a lot of dog hair all the time. And it's the bite is really freaking good, right? First of all, I took it out of the box, put it on foot, tried it out, amazing bite, right? And also just walking around in it as well. Obviously, it's gonna pick up a little bit of dust, dog hair, and stuff like that, but it still seemed to have crazy good bite and seemed to be really biting through that dust extremely well. And also comparing it to like the Kai 2, I just got the Kai 2 in as well, right over here, right? That video will be coming soon, by the way. Yeah. Got the furry laces right over here, but yeah, I was trying those, and the Kai 2 also was having a really good and hard stop, but this just seemed better. It had a harder stop and also wasn't picking up as much dust, which I'm very happy about, right? Of course, the finish is a little bit different on the actual gym floor, so it might perform a little bit differently once I actually play it with it, but just from my first impressions, I'm very impressed, and I feel like this is gonna have really good traction. Also for durability, it seems like it's gonna be very good, right? So first of all, the herringbone, and also pretty much all the patterns, right? All these grooves, all these different types of patterns on the actual outsole. The rubber is really hard, right? The rubber's hard, the grooves are thick and also very deep. So you should be fine on an outdoor court. They're also saying it is tough rubber. So yeah, you should be fine on an outdoor court. And also here in the middle of the outsole, we can see it's basically like an arrow shape, but it's also like a plastic. It's a TPU material. They're saying it's P-backs, right? And just moving on to the heel to toe transition, it feels really nice and smooth as well, right? And just like the Jordan 34, of course, we do have a cored out midsole. And I guess as far as like how big it is, it's like taking up like 1/5 of the entire midsole. So I'm guessing it's probably saving the weight of 1/5 of the actual midsole, right? Which I think is that's a good thing, you know? And you don't really need cushion as much here in the midfoot. You need it more in the heel and in the forefoot. But anyways, we do have a very nice curved shape. Look at that. Very nice curved and rounded shape. So just from that shape, it has a very nice smooth feel here in the heel. But also, as you guys can see, the entire midsole here in the heel is pretty much caged, right? The rubber comes up caging the entire heel as well as this plastic piece, so there is no exposed foam at all. But feeling this actual heel part just on the sides but also on the bottom, it's actually quite soft, and just even pressing with my finger is soft, right? So I really like what they did here in the Liren 5, because usually companies, when they cage, you know, foams, they use a really stiff like type of plastic or a really stiff type of rubber, and it makes it really clunky, right? But in this is actually, in my personal opinion, how all shoes should have caged cushion, right? So yeah, it's also really smooth and soft here in the heel from that actual compression. And then coming here into the forefoot, we got a nice curve shape and also a good amount of forefoot flex, right? It's able to flex, but also has a nice little tiny bit of springiness as well. It's actually not super easy to flex, you know what I mean? So there's a little bit of force you need to put in there. So it has a nice bit of flex and springiness as well, which is great. So yeah, heel to toe transition also feels really nice. And also another thing that I would like to mention is that here in the heel, because of the foam, they are using boom. It also is slightly bouncy, right? So if you look at the actual kind of like this part of the heel, you can see the exposed boom, right? And they are using full length boom, I believe. So I was looking online for the tech specs for this shoe, and I found a website where they actually have like detailed breakdowns, but it's in Chinese. So I apologize if it's wrong, but I'm guessing it is saying boom, and they're saying both the forefoot and heel are boom, so I'm guessing it's full length boom, right? I guess besides the midfoot, but anyways, how's the cushion? The cushion feels really freaking nice, right? So it's weird because it feels like minimal almost, you know, like good for court feel and all that, but also feels bouncy and also really comfortable and plush at the same time, you know what I mean? So like I said, here in the heel we have a good amount of compression, which feels nice, but not only that, it is boom, which is bouncy, right? Boom is bouncy, but also I feel like because of this rubber, it kind of like cages the boom and gives it a nice kind of like bouncier feel as well. So like I said, it feels bouncy here in the heel, and then also in the forefoot, although it is lower to the ground, we do have a nice bit of underfoot cushion as well, right? So yeah, we do have good court feel, like I said, but there is a little bit of an offset. The heel definitely does feel a little bit higher than the forefoot, which is very typical for most shoes, right? And as far as the insole goes, we have a very thin insole, but it actually has a nice bit of like, it feels more like a rubbery type of foam material, right? So it has a nice bit of kind of like compression to it. And then for the actual strobo board, they're actually not using a soft mesh strobo board like in the Liren 4 V2, which kind of sucks, you know what I mean? But they also have some holes in the heel as well as in the forefoot, which does expose the foam a little bit better. But also just pressing with my fingers is actually still pretty soft, right? It's not as soft as like a soft mesh strobo board, probably because they are using a little bit more glue in this case, but it's still really soft, right? And also just, you know, walking around in it, jumping around a little bit, I can also feel the boom underneath my heel as well as in the forefoot. So stepping comfort and underfoot cushion is still nice. Of course, like I said, it's not as soft as like a soft mesh strobo board, but still really soft, especially comparing to traditional strobo boards, right? So this cushioning setup is feeling really freaking nice and surprised the hell out of me because it looks like, you know, they're trying to make a really lightweight, very minimal shoe. And with that, companies usually cut back on the cushion, you know what I mean? Companies, they make a really low to the ground feel, very kind of more like stiffer type of cushion. But in this case, I feel like they did a really good job and feels really nice so far. So there is a cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper. So the upper, they're using a textile material and you can see just how thin it is, you know what I mean? So first of all, it has a really good airflow here in the toe box, right? Also on the sides of the shoe and also through the tongue, right? You can see just how thin and open this material is. So ventilation is amazing, right? But also look at how thin it is. It's an extremely thin material, but also does feel supportive, right? And then around the toe box, we have this fused material, and we have, with this colorway, we have like this pink part, which is supposed to look like, you know, I guess like a milkshake, you know, kind of like dripping down or whatever. But yeah, that does add for a little bit more structural support around the toe as well, which adds some structural rigidity to the toe box and also here in the midfoot as well. It conforms to my foot very well and also feels really supportive for how thin the material is, you know what I mean? And comparing it to like the Sabrina 2, which is a really thin material and supportive enough, but this just feels a little bit more supportive, you know what I mean? I feel like that has to do with like the you know, fused material, which is actually kind of stiff, you know, which I like, you know what I mean? So it does everything well. The only thing I'm worried about is the durability. I feel like with this type of material, it'll probably develop a hole pretty easily or tear, you know what I mean? And then here in the midfoot, like I said, extremely thin. The tongue also pretty much has zero padding, right? And we have one pad here on top of the tongue, which is not even that well padded. And then we also have a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And then here in the ankle area, we actually have like an average amount of padding, not super well padded, but also not super minimal, which I do like. It adds a little bit of coziness to the back of the shoe, right? And then of course we do have an external TPU heel counter, which is pretty cool. You know, we don't really see this too much. It's a very prominent, pretty stiff plastic piece as well, and we can see literally a strawberry with glass right there. So yeah, the upper I really like, you know. Also the quality seems pretty dang nice. It's just like I said, the only thing I am worried about is the durability, right? And now moving on to the fit, I went up half a size because the Liren 4 V2, I went true to size and it was really freaking snug on me. So I went up half a size with the Liren 5 and this shoe fits me perfectly, right? So if there is a tiny bit of length, but it's only a tiny bit, you know what I mean? I feel like if I went true to size, it might be a little bit too short for the length. So If you're fine with that, then go true to size. But for most people, I would suggest going up half a size because for me, the length is actually pretty good, just a tiny bit long, right? But also here in the toe box, it's actually quite snug, you know what I mean? And it is a little bit forgiving as far as the material goes, right? This textile material is a little bit forgiving. I can curl my toes up just a tiny bit, but it's a really snug fit, you know what I mean? So I think it's a really nice feeling toe box. It's a snug toe box, and it's not to the point where it's like, you know, like for example, like a leather material where I wouldn't be able to curl my toes up at all. It is a really snug fit, but I can curl my toes up a little bit, and it's not too stretchy to the point where like it feels unsupportive, you know what I mean? So it's a really nice feeling fit for me here in the toe box, and also for the width, it is slightly narrow as well. So the fit for me is pretty much perfect, and as far as the support and lockdown goes, it feels like it's gonna be very good, right? Which is surprising, you know what I mean? So we'll get into weight, but this shoe feels extremely light. But as far as the lateral containment goes, we have, of course, first of all, here at the tip of the toe, we have this fused material, which, like I said, does add some support to the toe box. And also, we do have this plastic, right? And also, this seems like it's rubber. You know, you see this V shape, right? It comes up, acting as a sidewall here in the forefoot as well as in the midfoot. And we have this external heel counter. So lateral containment feels really good. Your foot is probably not gonna come out of the footbed at all. Of course, I'm gonna need to play in and see, but it feels good so far, right? Also, lateral stability. Look, we have a very wide base. You can see the crazy sharp outrigger right here. So lateral stability feels really good, and I'm not really experiencing any type of heel slippage. You can see the cupping of the foam, you know what I mean? Like it actually cups in the back of the heel, which does improve heel lockdown. So surprisingly, this shoe feels really supportive and very good for lockdown right now. And now moving on to the weight of the shoe. This shoe feels extremely lightweight. First of all, boom is extremely lightweight, and we do have a cored out midsole, right? So I'm guessing like 10, 11 ounces. 11.3 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 11.5 ounces. So yeah, extremely lightweight. The average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces, so it feels extremely lightweight. Also extremely minimal for the upper, but also like the cushion feels responsive. It feels good for core feel, but also like plush and bouncy, which feels great. And also the traction feels really nice so far. So it feels like a really nice kind of like responsive shoe, you know what I mean? But with good cushion, you know? So I'm really loving how this shoe feels so far, and it might even be a top tier performer. I don't know. Now, of course, I need to play in it, but just right now, I'm really loving how this shoe feels. And now moving on to the aesthetics, it looks great. You know what I mean? Like these Chinese companies, whoever the designers are over there, I feel like, you know, they recruited a lot of very famous designers from like Nike and Adidas. That's what I heard at least. And yeah, they're killing it. You know what I mean? Like all their designs over at Li-Ning, Way of Wade, it looks amazing. Also Anta, you know? As far as this colorway goes, not a huge fan of the strawberries, you know what I mean? But I do like how the overall shoe looks, like the overall design. And also some of the other colorways look absolutely freaking amazing. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah. For a guard, this feels like an amazing guard shoe, and I'm super duper glad that I got these in because yeah, they're feeling amazing. Like I got no complaints right now. Like this shoe feels amazing. The traction feels great, but also durable. The cushion feels amazing. You know what I mean? Responsive, but bouncy and plush and comfortable, but also responsive. You know, the upper's thin, but also feels supportive somehow. It just feels great right now, right? So yeah, of course, that's just my first impressions. I'm gonna need to actually play in these. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to play in these. And also, another thing that I like about it is that it does feel pretty springy as well, you know? So anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Li-Ning Liren 5. Again, if you guys do want to copy, try to leave in the link in the description box. But that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.